I decided that the Western medical model was not something I wanted to follow, and I started out as a massage therapist while I was in engineering school, and then I apprenticed with a chiropractor in Arkansas, and then I started doing a lot more with nutrition, and then I found out about naturopathic colleges, and so I took a year and traveled with the Audubon Society to learn more about. That was a consensus-run community school that we traveled all over the United States and really dived into the natural world, and really felt that there's a lot we can learn from nature, and that humanity has created a lot of things that are not really compatible with our bodies and the natural process. And
Yashpal, let's get a little more detail on a couple of those steps there. Like, you talked about working with entheogens in college, and that was what convinced you to not go the traditional medical route. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not the best way to do it, but once I did LSD and MDMA, I really stopped and thought about my life. At that time, I had a 4-year scholarship with the Army that was going to pay for all of my school and medical school. And I got out of high school. I thought that was going to be a good plan, and it kind of sent me into a shift in my life, which is what happens with people with Iboga as well. I needed to replan how I really wanted to accomplish my destiny, basically. And at that time, I was working in biomedical engineering, and originally the first 3 years we were working on robotics and doing artificial limbs and everything, and then the Jarvik 7, which was the artificial heart from Barney Clark, that came out while I was in my 3rd year of biomedical engineering. And so all of the venture capitalist money went to artificial organs and artificial this and artificial that, and that just really affected me. And I realized that, number one, people need to be able to die. People need to be able to go through their transformations, and that wasn't a good way. And so around that time is when I got introduced to LSD, and basically really thought about my life and what direction it was going in, and I realized that I needed to work closely with nature and spirit. And so that is what started things, and then that moved on to where I then, was searching for how I was going to be a doctor and feel good about it, basically. And so after about a year, that's when I took a year off from biomedical engineering and traveled with the Audubon Expedition Institute, is what that was called, and that's when I got really clear that I wanted to work in harmony with nature and our body.
And talk a little bit about what that was, because
I fit in very quickly and easily because I was already practicing about 80% like he did. But since then, so since 2006, I have only been working with people that really want to change their lives. And through that process, I started working with shamans and working with ayahuasca. And I actually did Iboga. Iboga. It was a 50-50 mix about 12 years ago in the Netherlands. I was there in, I'm a homeopath as well. I do homeopathic medicine, and I was at a conference in Europe. And Dana Beal, most of you probably know who Dana Beal is, and Dana Beal had a Ibogaine Information Center in New York City that I met and talked with him, and then he referred me to Sarah Glatt. And so when I went to Europe, I was looking for how to start working with Iboga and Ibogaine with my clients, and wanted to learn how to do this work for addicts, because I think addicts are really searching for a new way of life and a new change, and then they get stuck in these patterns with, especially the opiates, but get stuck in these patterns and are really just searching for a new life and searching for a way out, and then they get stuck with their demons. I've been actively working with that. I did 4 vision quests down in Colombia, and then the medicine kept telling me that I needed to go back to Iboga.
Well, give us some specifics, if you will. Just imagine someone's listening who knows absolutely nothing about shamanism. I mean, what different traditions, what different things did you try? Maybe describe one of these experiences so someone has some context.
Okay. So with ayahuasca, ayahuasca is a very deep medicine that is DMT, dimethyltryptamine. It's released naturally in our bodies from the pineal gland, and it's responsible for our dreams, basically. It's known as the spirit molecule. There's a great book and movie and research that was done called DMT, the spirit molecule. And ayahuasca is it's also called Yage. It's from the Amazon, and about 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, it came to them in their dreams that they needed to mix these 2 plants together, and one plant, the active constituent is dimethyltryptamine, DMT, and the other is a MAO inhibitor, a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, which makes that DMT be orally active. And so for 5,000 years, these tribes of the Amazon have kept their societies and their relationships viable and alive with the use of this medicine, primarily for healing. It's in group ceremony, and there's dedicated shamans. And when the pharmaceutical companies went down to the Amazon to try to figure out how do these people know that this plant is, that not ayahuasca, but that these other herbs, these other plant medicines are useful for these different diseases, their response was always, ayahuasca taught me, ayahuasca taught me. And so ayahuasca is known as a teacher plant, and so they're in these societies. I'm not saying that this is what I do or what other people would do to then be able to understand and serve the medicine.
Wow.
The main point I wanted to bring out is that the indigenous people have a lot of wisdom, and the indigenous people have really worked with the earth in a very good way. So I've done my best to do that and learn from that, but I have no plans or desire to become a shaman per se, but the tools and instruments of that. So I consider myself a natural mystic, and all the religions that have been formed, there's usually been some major life-changing visionary experience that people have had, and that's what I've had. So I have guided my life through these visions. They also use peyote and San Pedro, and then mushrooms. And so those 4 medicines are the ones that we would use in different ceremonies, and sometimes even in the same ceremony, which is only for people that were doing vision quests. So then I did 4 vision quests down in Colombia, 1 each year, and it's a 4 days sitting on the mountain. You do prayer ties with your with tobacco, and you sit on a mountain for 4 days with no food and water, and you're in a small area surrounded by your prayers, basically. And so the first year was 4 days, the second year was 7 days, the third year was 9 days, and the fourth year was 13 days. And so once a year, I would go down and do those vision quests, and in that, I evaluate if they're true or not for you, and how that resonates with your soul. But if they keep coming and they keep telling you, look, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, whether that's with ayahuasca or Iboga. Whereas Iboga, I have now felt, when I started that, I thought ayahuasca was the primary teacher, but now I'm very clear that Iboga is the tree of knowledge, and that Iboga accesses the Akashic records. Those of you that don't know what that is, but that's like the basically spiritual file of your life and your lifetimes and where your experiences and your destiny is. And what Iboga shows you is where the choices that you've made have led you down the wrong path. And so it helps you, I know a lot of people say this, but it helps you defragment your hard drive. It helps you, reorganize your memories, reorganize your decisions that you've made, reorganize your reactions to the experiences that you've had, whether it's your family of origin and how your father treated you or whatever. And then and what I'm really clear now is that it's the only medicine I know that can fully heal the soul.
Okay.
And that